James Comey, who, basically tried to say he didn't have anything to do with anything. Oh, he was just an innocent bystander. I remember this one. And by the way, I'm showing you this short that we ran alongside some texts that he was going back and forth with one of his staffers trying to get him to say certain things for certain reasons.
There's this little thing called tape.
Director Comey, have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
Never.
Have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
No. I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel.
And there we have it.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm glad that got cleared up. There's some more receipts that just appeared. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share with you because Comey's in much, much more trouble. Look at this handwritten note. Okay, so this was discovered, on FBI letterhead, and this was actually presented by Lindsay Halligan as part of evidence. This is in government exhibit number 13, if you would. So Lindsay Halligan, she's the U.S. attorney there in Virginia. She's going after Letitia James. She's going after Comey. And Comey's firing back with the allegation that she can't go after him because she's not legit. She hasn't been confirmed by the Senate. There's talk of Pam Bondi now intervening to try and solidify this because they want to go after Comey because of some of the things that I'm about to show you. So this all came out just last night, actually. Look at this. I mean, this is his handwriting. Now, I don't expect you to be able to read that handwriting. He's worse than a doctor's there. So let's go over to Twitter, X, forgive me, where somebody had the good sense to translate it. This is Comey's own outline to himself, talking about how he would undermine HRC, the confidence in the system, HRC's plans to hit Trump, HRC health, whatever that is. Kerry apparently was going to focus on Trump's finance, the debts to Moscow. Remember that? We had to keep hearing about how the Moscow investment bank was lending him all this money. It turned out not to be true, but they were making stuff up, apparently. And then there's a journalist saying, without naming, I mentioned New York Times, Russia, and then he's got instructions to David, propose use of pattern to the intrusion scans of state voter databases. What is this all about? It's not good. I got a kick out of this one. Do you know what Comey used for an alias? Reinhold Niebuhr 7 at gmail.com. Reinhold Niebuhr 7 at gmail.com. That was his alias that you used on Gmail to try and communicate with people about kind of important state matters. According to these documents, again, released by Lindsay Halligan. This one, he's writing to his friend at Columbia. This is the guy at Columbia who apparently said, that he would work hard to help him out. He was on the payroll, for goodness sakes. He was on the payroll at the FBI. The New York Times op-ed page asked me to write something on your letter. I'm not inclined to do so, but if you think it will help to explain that you owned something absolute candor and that the credibility, well, it's hard for me to read this one, will be particularly important in the coming years given the threat of investigations. And he writes, no need at this point. It would be something about Into the Wind. Someday they'll figure it out. And as Jack and Ben point out, my decision will be one a President-elect Clinton will be grateful for, although that wasn't why I did it. Oh dear, Comey, you may have some problems with this evidence. Then there's exhibit number, let's see, is this exhibit number 15? I'm going to have to move in closer to see this. It's hard to read. No, this is exhibit number 10, forgive me. This is exhibit 10. It's showing FBI special employee Daniel Richman, AKA, I guess everybody's got a funny name here, Michael Garcia. I like the German thing that he was going with, though. Honestly, I mean, if you're going to come up with a A fake pseudonym. You might as well go, what was it, Reinhold something? Anyway, leaking as an anonymous source to New York Times reporter Michael Schmidt on behalf of then FBI Director James Comey. Now, remember how we started this segment? I told you that, yeah, I showed you the sound. He talked about how he'd never done this and then admits, oh yeah, no, he did. So there's all these texts going back and forth where he's apparently giving instructions to someone to go out and leak to the New York Times. You know, they have their friends, the New York Times, the Washington Post, that's the deal, okay? So this is not good. There's 2 pages of these things. My gosh. My thanks to Mike Davis for getting some of this out there, and it's good to see. So as much as Comey wants to go after Lindsay Halligan and say this should be thrown out because she doesn't have the jurisdiction, she doesn't have the right. She happens to be the presidential appointee, okay? So maybe she hasn't been confirmed by the Senate yet, but she certainly has the right to do all this. I mean, you got Letitia doing the same exact thing. She's singing the same exact tune. Oh, she doesn't have the right to do this because she hasn't been confirmed. Well, I'll tell you, it doesn't really matter when we're looking at evidence like this. I mean, sure, we'd like her to get confirmed, but I think that they're going to find a workaround and a way to continue going after her. Again, Comey, we're not the ones who got up there and allegedly lied to Congress as you're being accused of doing. We're not the ones who said, no, nothing to see here, only to then find all of this out. I mean, they do have some stuff they can go after you with, including your own darn handwriting on FBI letterhead. Wow. Like what went down? And, you know, we've talked a lot about Arctic frost. It was just seriously unbelievable. And it's unbelievable because there's certain rules, shall we say, when it comes to how you initiate an investigation. You don't go out there and spy, for example, on 8 members of Congress. Well, that would be 8 senators and 1 representative. I mean, that's really kind of bonkers, but this is what they were doing, and it's being alleged that this is part of Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco and Jack Smith and Christopher Wray's operation, all targeting Donald Trump. So there we go. It was 8 members of the Senate plus 1 representative. Then you had 92 Republicans. Actually, I think that number is up to about 104, and we know that they were spying on roughly 440 members of the MAGA world. So this is like not normal. Okay, this is, how else do we say this? I mean, we could say it's bigger than Watergate for sure. I think it's probably the biggest issue that we have ever seen, at least in my lifetime as a reporter. I think this is bigger than Watergate for sure. And certainly the president does as well. He's called them thugs. He's after them. He's like, this is terrible. They belong in jail for this kind of thing. It's just not normal. Assuming that this is all true, I'd like to know, and here he is going after somebody else at the FBI. He's gone after, of course, Jack Smith repeatedly. And then you got to ask yourself the question, as interestingly, none other than Senator Kennedy did, why the heck were the phone companies so willing to oblige everyone? Like, why did they roll over and play dead? You get a subpoena, but don't you run a risk of complying with that subpoena? If that subpoena is not actually valid, you're going to have problems. So listen to him ask Pam Bondi about that.
But the phone company and the general counsel for the phone company, or companies, if there were more than one involved, could say, you know, this is serious as an aneurysm. This is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. This is a sitting United States senator. So general counsel would likely advise the CEO, well, you need to file a motion to quash.
Senator, typically phone companies follow a subpoena from a United States attorney.
I know they do, but they don't have to.
They could challenge it, Senator.
Yeah. Or maybe they should have gone to Amazon and buy some testicles online.
He's got away with words, shall we say.
Instead of just saying, sure, I'll just show you.
Instead of just saying, sure, I'll show you everything. So, you know, a telecom company actually does have to be looking at a subpoena, a court order, a national security letter, a FISA warrant. Now, they could say, hey, you know, this doesn't really feel right to me. And according to Chuck Grassley, some phone companies, one in particular, said, yeah, this doesn't feel right to me. Hey, Jack Smith, you know, we need a little more. And Jack Smith rolled over. And then the other phone company literally rolled over. Watch.
I've recently been informed by Verizon that at least 11 members with Verizon accounts were affected. That includes a hard line for Senator Cruz's office and a staffer's cell phone for former Senator Loeffler. AT&T informed me they challenged the legal basis for Jack Smith's efforts, and Smith backed down.
Whoa. Okay. So he backed down right away. You understand, like, we're going to find out all kinds of things. So when Nancy Pelosi says, okay, I'm not announcing my retirement, like, I get it. Like, I think she's kind of like, I could be in the crosshairs here. I could be in a whole lot of trouble. And maybe if she exits, maybe some of that pressure is relieved in some way. I'm not entirely sure. I do think that this particular FBI and DOJ want to expose everything, but perhaps she's thinking this relieves me of some of the pressure that I might be facing in the near future. And believe me, there's tons and tons and tons of pressure.